and welcome to Science North's career video series. In these videos, we'll meet a wide range of professionals spanning multiple sectors. Each interview will explore what they do, how they got there, and the skills that you would need to pursue a similar career. We hope that you enjoy this video, as well as the others in the series. Without any further ado, here's today's interviewee. So our guest today is Chris. Chris, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
I would love to. My name's Chris Ackroyd, and I am a senior manager of social media content and sponsorships with the NHL. So I've had a few roles within the league.
Yeah.
And you know what? We kind of made that up as we went, as things changed and evolved. It needed the social media. It needed the sponsorships. I come from the content world originally, so it's a whole bunch of things that I do that are all interconnected.
Chris, I want to ask you, what is your favorite part about the job? What do you love about it?
I have a lot of favorite parts. The easiest one is certainly just getting to say that I work for the NHL, and I'm fortunate that it's easy to make friends when the standard question is like, hey, great to meet you. What do you do?
Yeah.
Because people are usually excited to ask more questions. So that makes my life easier. It's an in, if you will.
Where do you see yourself using technology, digital skills with what you do?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird being like living on the internet all the time because, I mean, obviously by definition, it is very much the digital place. But also feeling like there's only so much control. And I think that's the case for most of us. You know, we want to be in a role where you control everything. And what I mean by that is like, you can't like make something go viral. I think about that all the time in just the business of social media, right? And brands are like, why don't we just make something and have it go viral and then it'll get our message out there. You can't just do that. You have to make good content, and you got to do that based on your experiences and based on your audience, which I think is huge. Like, not just doing what you think is good as an individual. You do what your audience wants and what works for them. But then the next step is to see how the computer responds. And by that, I mean to see how Instagram serves it up. And is it at the right time of day? Does it gain traction and get a lot of engagements early, which, you know, promotes that content to other people? We've had, you know, seemingly insignificant content, you know, go viral, if you will, and take off. And you have stuff that you spend a lot of time and money producing great content and video shoots and stuff, and it gets published, and, you know, some people see it and then it disappears and you carry on. And that's the nature of the internet. So not having full control over like the algorithmic side of things has always been interesting to me, because the game for everyone is how do we maximize our success when we don't control largely the algorithms.
Do you have any advice that you want to give the students that are going to be watching this video?
Of course I do. I have so many thoughts, so I'll try and contain, because I usually spew out a whole bunch. I shared a bit earlier, and I think it holds true. Like, you don't have to know exactly what the end goal is. Try something out, and, you know, if it doesn't work, no problem. And if it does, great. And if it works a little bit and you're able to steer yourself, then find new projects to tackle. And for me in sports, and I talk to students all the time that are getting into the sports industry or looking to break into the sports industry, and there are more opportunities than you think.
Yeah.
For me, you know, from what I know best, it's, you know, people say, hey, I want to work with, you know, the Sudbury Wolves, or I want to work in the NHL or MLB, or get a job with the Jays, or whatever it is. There are so many jobs that are so deeply embedded in sport with non-sport companies, right? Like, I work with a team of people whose role is hockey programs for Scotiabank.
Yeah.
They work for a bank, but they work in hockey. They work with players. They go to events, right? There are agencies. There are the brand side of things. There's the media side of things. There are so many different ways. So try stuff out. It doesn't have to be like the one or two ways you think.
Yeah.
Get out and try stuff, certainly. The other obvious one gets shared all the time, but I think it's because the most important one is make friends. Um, I know the term networking can be very formal in nature. It can be very casual in nature. I like to think of it as making friends. I'm not looking necessarily to get things out of people, but
Yeah.
building relationships that are legitimate,
Yeah.
where, you're going out for a coffee with someone just to catch up as much as you are having
Yeah.
their number in your phone for when you need something.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that's how it worked for me. Again, it wasn't a good friend of mine that tipped me off. It was someone I kept in touch with. You know, we knew one another. He knew what, I was capable of doing in terms of work performance, etc. And he was willing to stick his neck out for me. And because I had seen him recently, and when people say, "Hey, do you know anyone for this job?" He said, "Yeah, actually, I do."
Yeah.
And you never know when it's going to come together. Particularly the like recent graduate side of things. I always say that you got to just keep trying. And the tricky thing is it's going to take a long time.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how long. And once it's done, it's done.
Yeah.
Once you're in, it's like, oh, it doesn't matter. But you just got to be persistent. You got to get through a lot of no's and challenges. And I sent out a lot of resumes and was just working a job for the sake of working a job before I got into hockey. I didn't jump right into it. So patience, I think, is important. And as I've done this for a while now, I've been with the league for 7 years. Makes me feel old as I think through this, but I now have that ability. And maybe I wouldn't have listened to this when I was 18 or 21 or whatever it is. But looking back, going, in the grand scheme of my life, that wasn't a long time. It
No.
seems like 1 year is so long, right? That 2 months is so long. I mean, and it certainly feels that way. You might not agree with me, or it might be like, yeah, okay, I get it, old guy. But for me personally, at least, looking back, going, hey, it takes a while and we've got plenty of time. So don't worry if things aren't happening exactly as you want, or, if your friend, strikes gold on their second resume and gets the perfect job and it didn't work out for you, the time will come. You just got to stick to it and keep working and making friends. And it all comes together at some point.
Chris, thank you so much for your time and for answering all those questions. I really appreciate it, you being here. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.